Hi, my name's Sean from SeanSoloSabers, and today we're going to talk about your virtual owner's manual for the Obi Wan Episode 4 lightsaber by 89 Sabers. And this by far is one of my favorites. I mean, you can just see the detailing in the neck. This piece, it actually moves slightly and then stops as you control it there. This piece twists off, this piece twists off. There is some wiring in here, so you don't want to over twist it, and once you take it apart, if you need to, you would see that. But I want to give you the basics right now. You have a couple buttons. You have your ignition button and your auxiliary button. And I want to first show you what comes with the saber when you purchase it. And by the way, if you have done, thank you for your business. I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So first it comes with your Allen wrench, and I'll show you how to use that in just a second. It comes with a blade plug. Now this doesn't have a NeoPixel end on the end of it because you don't need it. And this NeoPixel tip actually has LEDs built into it. So it shines by itself, and it also sends the information to the blade to light up the blade. So it's a pretty unique new setup. You have your 18650 rechargeable lithium-ion battery here. You have your charger for the lithium-ion battery that you plug into a USB brick. Just make sure you use no more than a 2 amp 5 volt charger. So meaning your iPad charger, for example, that's a 5 volt 2 amp. Feel free to use that, but nothing bigger than that. This is your, for the time being, the stand that comes with the saber. These are about to be phased out by 89 Sabers. They're going to start shipping some different stands that don't have this plaque, but it's easier shipping. And usually this package comes in 2 packages, one package for all of this stuff and then another package for the blade. They've streamlined it, and to do so they had to change slightly the stand. So it'll still come with a stand, it just won't have the plaque on it. So if yours looks a little different, that's why. And forgive the packaging. This is how it comes to you actually. This all comes off. It's just stickers. And sometimes you might need to wipe the faceplate here is on the edges. This is machined, and sometimes there's a little bit of glue, a little bit of oil on the edge, but that'll come off just with some soap and water. Cool, so that's everything that comes with the package if you ordered it with a blade. If you didn't order it with a blade, it won't have this part here. Now this is just a microfiber towel that I like to use on any of my sabers that have chrome bits on them. So you can see the pommel and the emitter piece, they both have chrome pieces, and if you're trying to display it in a nice way, you just kind of wipe it down after you're done adjusting it if you need to, and then it'll take all the oil from your fingers off. So I like to have one of those handy, especially if I'm shipping to customers. So let me show you next how to, when the saber comes to you, that is, the battery will already be installed in the hilt. And let me show you how to do that once you take it out for recharging, because 9 times out of 10 it comes to you, the battery is not charged. You'll need to charge the battery and then reinstall the battery. So as you get the saber, you'll need to charge it first, and all you'll have to do is twist the back end like this, and it just slips right off quite easily. And that exposes where the battery goes. Now again, when it's shipped to you, the battery will already be in there. And by the way, you can also take these 2 pieces apart should you need to, if you need to make any adjustments. By the way, making any adjustments to the saber itself does void the return policy and the warranty, so just keep that in mind. Like if you want to add fonts or make any adjustments in that way, that also voids the warranty, so just keep aware of that. So again, those 2 pieces come off, and then you have some venting in the back right here for the sound to come out. And you have some venting right here in the actual Graflex clamp itself, which this is how a Graflex clamp usually looks. So it's not an adjusted clamp. It's just hollow right here for the sound to come out better. And there's actually, this cut's not normally there, so that is additional. So you've taken this piece off. You'll see the battery exposed there. You can take the battery out and then charge it. And when you're putting the battery back in, or if you're taking it out, it's easiest to do it as I show you here. So you want to make sure that positive and negative are in the right spots. So on this hilt, the positive is at the back and the negative is at the front, so you're going to install it this way. And what I'm going to do to install the battery after I've charged it is put it down first like this, and then pop it in like that. And you may have heard that noise indicating that, hey, you have a fully charged battery and you're ready to rock and roll. At that point, you can press this button and it turns the saber on. So let me just put this part back on and we can demo that real quick. And I'll show you the LEDs that come out of the emitter. So this is your ignition switch. That's what I was talking about, the LEDs. It might be difficult to hear that over the sound of my lights, so if that's faint, I apologize. You can hear the smooth swing. Those are the flash on clash effects. If you press this button, it turns the saber off again, the ignition switch. So a quick press for that. And then your auxiliary button is going to be your blaster fire. And that, of course, is going to show up on the blade. And then turn the blade off. To change your font, you press the auxiliary button when the blade is off.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
So you'll hear a noise being played, and then you can hit the ignition button, and that's your next font. And again, you can turn that off. So those are just the very basics of how to use the buttons. Let me show you real quick. Oh, here's your blade plug. So to install that, what you do is put the blade plug in there, and then using your little Allen key, you're going to insert it into this screw right there. And that tightens down either the blade plug or the actual blade itself. And you don't need to do it too tight. But there you go. There's with your blade plug. I don't know, visually it kind of looks cooler without the blade plug because it's like a little bit brighter, but in either case you have a blade plug, so better than not having one, I suppose. Right? And then to remove it, again, you just grab your Allen key and twist the opposite direction, and it comes right out. Let me just show you how to install the blade real quick. It's the same way. I don't know if you can see that. Your blade's not going to look like that. This is my personal blade. I've used it a couple times. Your blade's going to come brand new. And if you need to, you can twist. If it's a tight fit for the blade, you can twist it on. And then you want to give it a firm push down so all those pins make contact on the blade. And then you're just going to, again, with the Allen key, you're going to give it a little tightening. And there you go. Your ignition switch will turn it on. Right. And there you go. Cool. And again, same thing. You're just going to back out the Allen key to take the blade off. So it's nice. You don't have to do much to put the blade in and out. And you might want to twist it to get it off again if it's a tight fit. Okay. So you can install your blade, you can install your blade plug. You have your stand, of course, you can put it on your stand however you want it. Showed you how to pop the battery in and out, how to charge it. Let me just show you how to remove the battery. And then I'm going to show you how to get to the ProFi board. It's a little awkward to remove the battery. This is only one way to do it, but you kind of press down here and it pops right out. And then again, you can charge that quite easily. So the last piece, probably the most complicated on this, is how to get to the ProFi board should you need to. Hopefully you never need to, unless you want to make adjustments to it yourself. And if that's the case, then go for it. Just bear in mind the whole warranty thing and the return policy. So just like a real Graflex clamp, you're going to flip this open. And I just realized a real clamp doesn't also have these two buttonholes on it, so that's a little different. Now, to remove the clamp itself, you first need to pop it open like that. And that gives you a little bit of wiggle room here, if you can see it. And then these buttons actually twist out. Now, when you remove these buttons, make sure you remember where you got them from. because they can be slightly different, and in my experience, they usually work best when you put them back where you got them. You would think they would both be the same, and because of manufacturing processes, they're all slightly different. So again, you're just going to twist them out. Now this inner button also twists off, so if you're twisting and you find that only the center comes out, just make sure you're grabbing that full piece when you're twisting, whoops, all the way to the end there. And then you're going to twist out again, remembering to grab the full piece. Now you've already released this. This can be slightly tricky. You might need to wiggle it a little bit, but you're just going to pull back on it until it slides right out. It gets a little tight toward the end. And again, just kind of wiggle it to get it off. Cool. So now you can see where the buttons are actually on the electronics. And you'll see the speaker, which is really cool. And then you'll see also the ProFi board with the SD card right there. If you ever need to make an adjustment to that, you could always grab it with some tweezers and pull out the SD card. You can also plug in your micro SD cable, or micro, what would it be? Micro USB, I believe. Now, if you need a little more room, let's say you need some more space, you want to take the chassis out completely, again, just bear in mind the warranty, but let me show you how to do that. So you're going to take your Allen key right here, and there's two screws. There's one here, and there's one here. Videos I've seen, there's actually 4. There's places for 4, but as I've received these from 89 Sabers, I usually only see 2 screws here. So again, it's the same Allen key. This one Allen key works for both these screws and for these screws, so that's nice. And you're going to not take them out completely, you're just going to back them off about halfway. And there you are. Now this chassis is in there pretty snug, so you might find that it's a little awkward to get out at first, and just keep in mind too that you have a lot of cables running all the way from here all the way through. So sometimes Sabers have these nice NeoPixel connections right here. This Saber runs the cables all the way from the chassis to the emitter portion, so just keep that in mind. Don't pull it out too far. But you can see, right, that again, if you need to make any adjustments, if you need to obviously get to those cables, that would be the way to do it, is you just keep taking it out until you see them, right? And there is some slack in the cables, but just be mindful of that. And then to reinstall the chassis, you just slip it in until it stops again, and then you're just going to tighten those screws down. And the chassis itself is actually this cool, like, kind of matte, almost foam-like substance. It's really nice. And then you're going to tighten that down. Not too tight. It looks like flush with the hilt is good enough. Just make sure there's no more play in it. And again, that's your speaker right there. It's a really unique design, how it gets the sound out of the Graflex clamp and then also out of the bottom. And you'll be able to see that a little better when you purchase the Saber. Okay. So just for fun, I'm also going to reinstall the battery, and always making sure positive, positive, negative, negative. There is discharge protection on these, but just in case, right? You just want to be careful. And then you'll slide, matching the circles with the buttons here, the clamp back on. And again, if you need to wiggle it a little bit, you can. And just make sure you keep that clamp open. And then this button was there, and the other button is down here. So again, this button was here, so I'm going to reinstall it here. And you might need to move this clamp as it's open a little bit back and forth if you're finding it difficult to put the buttons back in. And just finger tight is fine on these buttons. Okay, good. I like to leave it open until I fully reinstall this back end as well, just in case I've put the clamp on a little too far down. We'll get that nice and snug, but not too tight again. None of this stuff has to be super, super tight. You're gonna put the clamp back down and you're off to the races, man. Guys, thank you for your purchase. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, either eBay, Etsy, or I hope soon to have my own website, SeanSoloSabers, SEAN, solosabers.com. Find me at any of those places, and I am happy to answer any of your questions. It's a beautiful lightsaber, man. It's one of my favorites. It's a really well-built construction. 89 Sabers makes this. I know there's also an LTG Saber Studio option that might look similar, but usually those options are a little bit less accurate. Still a nice saber. They're a little bit cheaper, and you can get typically better deals on them. This saber usually sells for anywhere from $700 to $800, let's say, and also depends on the blade. So again, you can message me here, message me at any of those other places if you have questions. You will not be disappointed with this saber purchase. It's phenomenal. I personally have multiple 89 Sabers hilts, and that's why I sell them, because I can back up that they're a great quality. Last bit, if you're wearing a ring, be super careful with this stuff, because especially if you're holding it and you're swinging it, your ring rather can scratch up your beautiful saber. So just keep that in mind. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon.